All right, we have a viewer from Douglas County who wants to know, is the caucus the only way we have for who will be a political party's candidate for President of the United States? Here, you're going to get your minute and a half Minnesota history lecture. I'll just tell our viewer, and then you folks can all correct me, but Minnesota actually used to be a primary state. Up until the mid-1950s, Minnesota was a primary state. There was unhappiness in both political parties. Democrats were unhappy about the Estes Kefauver drawing a blank on the Democratic candidate for president in 52 and 56. Help me with this. Adlai Stevenson. There we go. They were unhappy about that argument. The Republicans.
That was good, Barry. I gotta say that.
The Republicans had the Taft-Eisenhower thing going. There was great unhappiness with the primary model. So that's when the caucus model comes into Minnesota. There have been discussions over the years about changing it, but I have not heard anything that indicates there's been any kind of reform bill or change in the winds about the current caucus model. Am I right about that? Is there anything pending now? Should I look at you, Representative Dean?
Well, I think you got your history correct, because I don't remember that.
I'm the master of useless information, and there's nothing more useless about what happened in some election in 1956.
Well, that's interesting. You do hear folks that would like to go to a primary along the way. I like the caucus situation where it's grassroots and everybody goes to their schools. And after this year, who knows? Maybe we'll all be singing a different tune. It's kind of an odd year, to say the least, on all sides.
I think it's important. People have to go. And the weakness in the caucus model is the low attendance. Right. And so I think it's a wonderful system, and I think this year is a great opportunity where both the straw polls actually carry weight, and so the delegates actually have to abide by that. That's the first time I recall in recent history where we've been relevant as a presidential state. And I'm part of Super Tuesday, and the votes will be apportioned, and the delegates have to vote at least, I think, the first ballot according to how they've been apportioned. But whatever party you're in, please go. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at a school near you, and be a part of your neighbors and embrace this beautiful process that America has and Minnesota has put into place, where it's your neighbors and your people starting out making a difference. So that's my encouragement for people.
And this advertisement is brought to you at no cost.
So at no cost. That's right.
Senator Hoffman.
I love it to hear Jim talk about caucus. We've talked for years about all the mini caucuses that occur up in our area. You know, it is important to get involved. When you talk about, I want to have access, I want to be part of the process, this is one way of getting there. And then the next level, though, is let's have a really ardent discussion about, you know, when I listen to Dave Schultz from Hamline University talk about the 10 states that really matter, down to 10 counties, down to really 10 people in Ohio when it comes to it, does your vote really count? I mean, that's a question that gets to be thrown out there. And when you look at the fact that in those 10 states, on a presidential year, 90 to 95% of the money that's spent in advertising dollars are spent in those 10 states, just because of the fact that those are the most significant when it comes to the Electoral College piece. So why aren't we having a discussion about a popular vote? Why aren't we having that discussion about, if my vote really mattered and I lived in Wyoming or I lived in Montana, why am I just seen as a flyover state right now? Yes, get involved with the process.
Well, if you had the popular vote system, Wyoming would matter even less.
Yeah? You think so, Barry?
I absolutely think so. Because what would happen is all the focus would be on L.A., San Francisco, New York, Boston, Washington.
Oh, well, let me rephrase that. It's actually, it doesn't get rid of the Electoral College on the popular vote, but what it says is if your state Electoral College folks, if the president, the popular president, gets the popular vote, then those states' Electoral College votes actually go toward that.
You're talking about the compact, which some states have adopted.
And yes. It's come up a couple times in the state of Minnesota, but there is, I think they have 10 states that have adopted the compact, Barry, that's there. And the guy who wrote it is the gentleman that did the arithmetic numbers for the lottery. That's how smart this guy is when it comes to numbers crunching. And that book is about this thick. So
this is amazing. We're solving national popular vote tonight also.
I know, isn't it great?
This is like a major think tank.
We haven't solved it yet. Senator Hoffman and I may have to go out and wrestle about this one. I'm not sure we're on the same page. Go ahead.
At least it's worth a discussion, right?
I've had a number of people approach me just in the last week or so asking if it would be possible to extend absentee balloting to the straw poll at the caucuses, so that if you really want to cast your vote, in the presidential race through our caucus system, that you can do it in addition to being at a school in your neighborhood at 7 p.m.
And what's really interesting about that is that's effectively converting, or at least converting it into a primary model, right? I mean, that's effectively what that does.
Yeah, the one vote
It
there.
could.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and we do have a primary here. We just have it, we have it in August. But I will say this. I grew up in a primary state in Wisconsin. I like our caucuses. I like the opportunity to get together with my neighbors. And as frustrating as the legislature can be sometimes, and it certainly can be, it is also a place where we can really we can get things done, great things done. I have seen it. I've been a part of it. I've done it with these people right at this table. And so I want to say to Minnesotans, don't lose hope. And instead, bring your voice. And the only time your vote doesn't count is if you don't use it. And right now, I think the sidelines of our democracy are a little too crowded. So we need to get out in the field, and so you should caucus March 1st.
So I just want to go back to Senator Hoffman's point about the compact. We were having a good time going back and forth about that. But there are some good issues on both sides of that argument about whether or not a state should adopt that compact. And if viewers are interested in that question, you can go to the Google search engine or the Bing search engine, or as the late Senator Ted Stevens once said, the Google or the Internet tubes. But what you will find is a really interesting debate about this that goes all the way back to the founding era of the country in terms of what was the purpose of the Electoral College, and should we have, and is this consistent or not consistent with that purpose? And so I'm not here to judge it one way or the other, except to say it's a really interesting debate, and I would encourage people, if you're interested in it, to pursue that. So that viewer from Glenwood, or that viewer from Becker was not interested in that long speech, so we'll move on now.